Hello there all, my name is Kate and welcome to this channel. In this part 2 of the Mediterranean cruise videos, we are going to visit Messina, Dubrovnik and Corfu. So we are in Messina. To be precise, we're actually in Sicily and going to visit the province of Messina. It's located in the largest island of Italy and Mediterranean, Sicily. 3 capes give the island a triangular shape, which is why ancient Greeks called it Trinacria. The coast of Sicily is washed by 3 seas: Ionian, Mediterranean, and Tyrrhenian. The most authentic, beautiful, amazing destinations in Europe, place of rich history, traditions, with very picturesque nature and very special way of life. Located at the crossroads of Mediterranean trade routes, Sicily has always been one of the most strategically important places. In ancient times, the island was known as the part of Greater Greece and was mentioned, for example, by Cicero, describing Syracuse as one of the largest and richest cities of ancient Greece, and Syracuse was in Sicily. Sicily is one of the greatest holiday destinations with wonderful southern Italian flair, but what is more important maybe for some is the association with the legendary Godfather. But seriously, well, who hasn't watched the iconic Francis Coppola trilogy, right? Well, I haven't seen it. I actually watched it only after I visited the island, but I didn't regret visiting it. So if you've seen The Godfather, if you haven't, I would recommend watching it. It's a great movie. Episodes of the film were filmed in the 2 neighboring villages, Forza de Agro and Savoca. They're very, very picturesque Sicilian villages that completely charmed me, stole my heart, and I actually really want to return here. So in Sicilian village Savoca that we're seeing right now, the wedding of Michael Corleone took place here. Michael Corleone's first wife lived in Savoca. She was the daughter of the local businessman who owned a bar. So the wedding took place here. The village actually received a decent amount of money after the shooting of the movie, and the city fathers, so to say, spent the money on recreating the beauty of the city, and they certainly have done a very good job. The movie was released in 1972 and immediately became a hit. Godfather trilogy received many Oscars, and many great actors starred here: Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, and John Cazale. Which was super interesting was when we were hearing the guy telling us, talking to people who worked with actual actors, who were sharing their personal account on what kind of people these actors really were. So they were pointing out that both Marlon Brando and John Cazale were super fun and were always engaging in parties and talking to people, more or less very approachable, but Al Pacino was very quiet, very shy, hardly ever spoke to anyone. That was quite interesting, to say the least. In the evening, we returned to the boat, had a great dinner, always a cake, a drink, went to our favorite pub, listened to our favorite band. To be fair, it was one of the most eventful, one of the most wonderful holidays I've ever had in my entire life, because they were so eventful, so well organized, and I didn't have to do anything. And now we're in Dubrovnik, one of my personal favorites. Dubrovnik, historically known as Ragusa, is a city of Adriatic Sea in Dalmatia region, southern Croatia, one of the most famous tourist destinations here in Mediterranean. Dubrovnik is the heritage of the world architecture, included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Oftentimes referred as a pearl of Adriatic, the most beautiful city in the Croatian coast. It was founded in the first half of 7th century, interesting enough, by a group of refugees from Epidaurus and named Laos. Soon the settlement merged with a neighboring Slavic town of Dubrava, becoming the city and then the center of the powerful Republic of Dubrovnik. For a long time it was under the protection of the Byzantine Empire and then under the sovereignty of the Venetian Republic. Between the 14th and 19th century, Dubrovnik ruled as a free state. The prosperity of the city was historically based on maritime trade. Being a capital of Maritime Republic of Ragusa, it reached the highest level of its development in roughly 15th and 16th century, became known for its wealth and extremely skillful diplomacy. A lot of interesting stories about that. Many buildings in the old part of the city tell the glorious past, unique Venetian architectural style. You can see buildings from 14th to 18th century, gorgeous houses with galleries, narrow cobbled streets, squares with fountains and statues. The place is absolutely stunning. The most monumental site of Dubrovnik is the city wall. This is a defensive structure that surrounds the old city along the perimeter. On average, the height is about 6 meters. It's a circular route of 2 kilometers. From here, you have an amazing view over the city and the West Harbor Pier. If any fans of Games of Thrones are here, if you guys hear me, this is the place for you. A lot of episodes were shot here. This was so-called the capital. Dubrovnik is now almost like a pilgrimage for the fans of the Game of Thrones. And now we're going down the pedestrian street of Stradum. The street crosses the city, and here you will see most of the sights. So first of all, the oldest structure in the entire coast of Adriatic Sea is the Great Fountain of Onofria. In Dubrovnik, it was traditional to conserve the water from the rains. However, the mountain springs were found a few kilometers away from the place, and then they channeled the water to the city and provided the city with the running water, hence the fountains. This fountain appeared here in 1444. Sponza Palace, one of the architectural monuments of Dubrovnik. The palace was built here under the leadership of Pasko Milcevic. In 1521, the building was made in the Gothic style with elements of early Renaissance. Initially was assumed to be a residence for a prince. During the Republican times, the building was used for all sorts of purposes, from treasury to customs to school to coin yard to bank. There was even an academy of consonants that held scientific and literary discussion in the Sponza Palace. The Sponza Palace today houses the City Museum. Here you could also see the Prince Palace or Prince Court that's located on the square that is on the right from the street that we are walking on, and the construction dates to 15th century. In the design, there are elements of early Renaissance and Gothic style. And if you still have the time, walk outside of the city, try to go to the nearby hill somewhere to see the city from above. It's definitely worth the while. Be sure to make it to the cruise liner in time. There are plenty of funny videos online of people running up to the cruise ship, but it is still late. In the evening, we had wonderful Asian noodles and dumplings. It was absolutely great. And then again, went to the same pub to enjoy the music of the same band. The next morning, we had a very luxurious sort of American-style breakfast with loads of tasty thingies. I really miss US. I used to live in the US, so having a very much an American service and American culture and American atmosphere on board of the ship, to me personally, was a huge advantage. So I had an American holiday with European ports, which again, to me, was the best of both worlds. And we have arrived to the island of Corfu, our Greek name Kerkyra. It belongs to the group of Greek islands located in Ionian Sea. Ancient Greek myths tell a wonderful story of the island's creation. Apparently was founded by the god of seas Poseidon. Having fallen in love with one of the daughters of the rivers, he kidnapped the beauty and settled her on the island that was as beautiful as she was. In honor of his beloved, Poseidon named the island Kerkyra, and since then the place has been glorified more than once in more than one legend. Homer sang it in his poems, and Odysseus stopped here on the way to Ithaca. The geographical position of the island has long determined its military, strategic, and commercial importance, which turned Kerkyra into the arena of very turbulent historical events and military clashes. In the 8th century BC, Kerkyra became a Corinthian colony and became an important center of trade. However, inhabitants of the island rebelled against the conquerors, united with Athens, concluding a military alliance with the great city. After the collapse of Roman Empire in 395, the island remained the part of the Eastern Roman Empire, which later became the Byzantine Empire. It was during the Byzantine period the island became called Corfu, the Greek for city of mountains, and later in the Latin name arose as Corfu, which it has today. Some of the main delights of the place are kumquats. Kumquats are these wonderful fruits that you can enjoy here in fresh form or in form of liquor or candies or desserts. It's really, really tasty. So then I returned to the boat, had a wonderful evening as always, and then a very relaxing breakfast with the view over the water. Breakfasts were amazing. There were 3 or 4 restaurants available. You could have breakfast in different restaurants. In that sense, again, that's one of the best holidays because we didn't have to organize anything. We didn't have to check in and check out of the hotels or think of where to eat and what to do. Everything was organized. And again, that's one of the reasons I love the holidays. So that would be all, my dear all, for the part 2. In part 3, we're going to check out Santorini, Meteor, Mykonos, and Athens. It's going to be super exciting. Don't miss out on that. Don't forget to subscribe, put the like, and see you soon.